2019, and you still don't know how to choose an investment? Up to now, scam, cryptocurrency, irregular FX dealers, even more scams than these. Some like OTC, blockchain, hedging arbitrage, or supported by government. Emerge in endlessly before investing. Except on the surface of company. Have you ever understand the core technology were real or not? Or it's a scam? Most of the investors will realize the investment is totally empty when the company collapses. But if we make a full understanding before we investing, it will be totally different. Now on HyperFX Team, we'll introduce to you how we master the mainstream and make subversion technology. HyperFX Team have 10 years of foreign exchange transaction experience. Due to the development of the internet, the elites all over the world are built up a technology center in Singapore. After accumulating 10 years of experience, we create an original arbitrage system, latency arbitrage. Latency arbitrage is a core technique in extremely high winning rate and hyper-stable. But how do we operate this technique perfectly? First of all, we need to plan completely, testing, and start operating. Need to connect the first-hand Forex quote using VPS, fix API, and choose the fine dealers. First, what's LMAX? LMAX is the fastest quote source in the world. It's an organization with fastest quote integrating. LMAX collects the quotes from each central banks and integrates into the latest quote in the first time. By using LMAX's quote server, makes HyperFX Team get the first-hand quote and the most accurate quote than other banks and dealers. LMAX also supervised by FCA. The censorship of LMAX's is the strictest. But HyperFX Team insists the finest and fastest quote. But how we connect with LMAX in UK from Singapore without any delay? For sure, HyperFX Team must set a high-frequency VPS in London to make sure acquiring the latest quote in a zero delay. In the other hand, the hardware of VPS HyperFX Team using are the finest. And the network speed is 1 gig per second. Fairly download the PUBG only in 30 seconds. HyperFX Team acquire the first-hand quote is certainly for sure. Now is choosing the dealers to operate the arbitrage. Even though our technique can be done in any arbitrage, we still filter with some conditions. These Forex dealers must with FCA, ASIC, NFA, SFC licenses. A-class authorities, safe authorities, trustworthy, large scale. As long as consolidate the stabilize of arbitrage and signing up a contract with fixed API account. What's an API account? First of all, explaining the 95% structure in Forex trading after the investors send out an order. The order will enter to risk management. Decide to take over your losses or up to the major banks to deal the order, and it passed through 3 processes. API trade is straight to the major banks. It takes only 1 process. The technique of HyperFX Team is against the clock. We are not afraid of an in-a-dealing desk. We believe you can recognize that using API trading is way much faster. The technique of HyperFX Team combines in the VPS with using expert advisor to determine an opportunity between LMAX and dealers. Due to the quotation of LMAX is way more faster than other dealers, there were opportunities when the quotes makes major changes. EA will automatic trade when the opportunities appear. And wait for the dealer's quote, keep up with LMAX's. Then it earns profit. The whole latency arbitrage process done in 300 milliseconds to 1 second. This is the latency arbitrage technique of HyperFX Team. Join HyperFX Team. We lead you reaching to the peak.